enjoy the channel and our video content and would like to support us, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can sign up to our Patreon site, which is a monthly subscription to one of our 4 tiers, each giving you something different from early access interviews up to exclusive unseen footage. There's also the option of a one-off donation via PayPal, which allows you the option to donate an amount of your choice. Both options really help to keep this channel going and to continue putting out regular content for you good folk. So please take a look at aircrewinterview.tv/donate, and I thank you in advance. Thank you and enjoy.
Yeah. So what was life like at the Falklands, like being over there and in general, like social time as well?
Yeah, the Falklands was unique, and we had the Goose. Like first time I arrived there, I went with a nav who'd obviously been there loads, sort of, just throwing me around. And you go around, and we call it the Death Star, the accommodation, if you've heard of that.
Not heard that.
No, so then the Death Star is just all this uniform sort of accommodation, white walls, prefabbed, and then you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my way. And then, it's these fire doors in the corridors that double open up. And then you just turn the corridor, and then it's got Fightertown, and it's Mount Pleasant Airfield, so MPA. Fightertown MPA, the doors open up. And then we all signed our names on the walls. So I know you keep in touch with Roy Mack, and I know Roy Mack went down his last time. He took photos to try and, preserve it for history, even if it's on photos. But, we all signed or did a little story or did a little picture. And that was our accommodation, And then at the end, so accommodation either side, and then at the end, there was the Goose Bar. And the Goose was a little pub that we sort of managed ourselves. And if you could bottle an atmosphere, you could, and just bring it back to a normal pub. I mean, the Goose just was the place to be, it just was the perfect, it's like, there was a few ejection seats as bar stools, and because we were F3, you'd have, certain, I probably shouldn't go on of who was doing what, but you're either on QRA or, different roles within QRA, but you'd also have like a down day. So you'd have like, some people, not actually on queue, but ready to be called into queue. They're obviously sober, so it would almost be rostered that tonight you're the barman, you're staying sober, and tonight you're off tomorrow, and you're on it. So it was this constant rotation of, people trying to outdo each other. Like if you're the barman sober, you'd try and mix the best cocktails or whatever, and it was just like a real social kind of event, a real, it was a nice place to go, especially because, the regulars would do, quite a few months down there, but as aircrew, because of simulator time and stuff, we only really did 6 weeks. So it's like 6 weeks sort of would break down into 2 weeks of arrival kind of, let's go, Middle 2 weeks would just be like, okay, let's settle down, and the final 2 weeks would be like, going home, let's go. So it was quite a good little gig, really.
Yeah, so do you have to have that mentality of like where you can just get on with things? Because I know aircrew that are quite shy, but some are like quite open and outgoing. Or how does that mentality work when you go somewhere like the Falklands?
Oh no, it takes all sorts. Aircrew. I wouldn't say, you obviously meet a lot, but, I wouldn't say we fall into particular categories.
Right, yeah.
I'd say, like IOT, initial officer training, just makes whatever you are a bit more you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it certainly doesn't mould you like maybe Sandhurst does into a certain character, if you know what I mean. And that's my opinion. I would... If you just let me tell a little story about maybe not flying. So maybe about a year into my F3, maybe a bit less, I was down the Falklands, and this story about the engineers, the engineers of the squadron, they break down into probably 3 groups of how they think about aircrew. They either like you, which is probably like, 25%, let's say, they really dislike you, which, let's be kind, is probably 20. I'll say 25%, but probably a bit bigger, or they don't really know you, and there's been plenty of times where, I'll be like, oh, it's Bob, and they're like, who's that? I'm like, he's been here for it's his third tour, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's as soon as you're racked and stacked, if you know what I mean, that follows you round. You're either a good lad or not, if you see what I mean. So I was down the Falklands, and on queue, and there's a small team of engineers that also sit QRA, and I get a knock on the door about 10 o'clock at night. It's one of the engineers, he's like, oh sir, your jet's got a fuel leak. I'm like, all right. He goes, yeah, I'm going to have to call in, the A shift or whatever. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night, in the Falklands. No, it's not happening. Let's go and have a look at it. So, it's my jet. I've signed it out.
Yeah.
And, I take all my flying kit out and we go out there and, I don't know if you know, but the fin holds 440 kilograms of fuel. And the fin's got a leak, and we're out there for a few hours, and I'm in the cockpit hitting a few switches. He's like taking a few panels off and having a little poke around. I'm like, if the hooter goes now, can you speedy screw on that panel and get going? He's like, yeah, I'll be all right, So we're operating like that, and after about 2 a.m. or whatever, the fuel leak stops, and personally I think it's because 440 kilograms of fuel had come out. But walking back in, I got a proper sir, and there's a way to say sir, you're fine, and I got like a proper one, sort of, sir, that was really good of you, kind of thing. And then woke up in the morning, it was like night and day, everyone knew my name as Parge, like the whole squadron from, most junior guy would just know me, you know what I mean? And then you walk to an aircraft and usually, you get to an F3 and there's some sort of niggle, and it was like, I had no niggles, and I changed squadron and everyone knows me as Parge. It's like, the engineering jungle drums had gone round.